So if you're a federal employee in your 50s or 60s planning your retirement around that one FERS pension estimate from OPM, this video is for you. By the end of this video, you'll know how to turn your pension, Social Security, and TSP into one clear retirement paycheck that feels like the one you have right now, so you're not guessing. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tom Poltersdorf. I'm a certified financial planner with GT Wealth, and I help federal employees retire on their terms with confidence. So in this video, I'm going to show you why your current net paycheck is a better starting point than your pension estimate, and how to map the 3 paychecks that will replace it in retirement. So let's get into it. Let's start with something you're already familiar with, which is your LES. Most federal employees I talk to plan retirement around their gross pension estimate. Maybe OPM tells you that's $4,500 a month, but that's not what actually shows up in your bank account. So here's a better way to think about it. Don't start with what your pension might be. Start with what your retirement paycheck needs to cover every month so you can live the life you want. And that number is not going to be in a retirement calculator. It's already on your last leave and earnings statement. So here's what I want you to do. Look at what actually hits your checking account every 2 weeks. That is your net pay. Multiply it out for the month. That number is your current lifestyle. Now, not all of that number will follow you into retirement, which is your FERS contribution stops, your TSP contributions will stop, and taxes will change. And for some of you, a mortgage, college bills, or community costs may also drop off too. So this week, grab your most recent LES, calculate your monthly net, and write down which pieces of that paycheck actually disappear when you retire. Most federal employees I work with are surprised by how different that number is from the gross pension estimate they've been staring at. Once you have a target net paycheck, the next step is figuring out where that paycheck is going to come from. Now, many federal employees think about retirement income as one thing just coming from the pension. And the pension, of course, matters, but your retirement income will really be 3 paychecks working together. The first is your FERS pension. This is your base paycheck for life. For many career federal employees, it ends up covering somewhere around 1/3 of what you used to make while you were working, depending on your years of service and your high 3. The second paycheck is Social Security, which usually starts a few years after you retire, depending on when you decide to claim the benefits. And the third paycheck is your TSP, and I would also add any IRAs and brokerage accounts to this bucket if you have them. This is your flexible paycheck. It fills the gap between what your pension plus Social Security covers and what you actually need to live the life you want. So when you think about your retirement paycheck, it's much more than just your pension. Ask yourself these 3 questions. What will my pension likely be after taxes and insurance? What will Social Security add when I decide to turn it on? And how much does my TSP need to safely fill in the rest? In my experience, 2 federal employees can retire with the exact same pension and have very different lifestyles because of how they built and coordinated those 3 paychecks together. Let me walk you through an example, because this is usually where it starts to click. Here we have Dave. He was 62. He had been in the government for 30 years. His wife works part-time. They have 1 kid finishing college, and he's looking at retiring in the next year or 2. Dave's gross salary is around $120,000. His current net paycheck after taxes, TSP, FERS, and insurance lands around $6,000 a month. So that's his lifestyle number. Now, when he looks at retirement, some things will come off the top. His mortgage will be paid off in 2 years. His FERS and TSP contributions will stop. His commute is gone. And so after adjusting, Dave figures his real target retirement paycheck is about $5,000 a month net. So let us sketch out the 3 paychecks. His FERS pension before reductions is about $3,300 a month. After a survivor benefit for his wife, federal tax withholding, and FEHB premiums that continue into his retirement, his net pension lands around $2,200. That's paycheck number 1. Now there's also Social Security. At his full retirement age, his net Social Security benefit would be about $2,000 a month. That's paycheck number 2. But it doesn't start for 5 years, so keep that in mind because he's only 62 today. So between 62 and 67, Dave has a pension of $2,200. His target is $5,000, and that's a gap of $2,800 a month that has to come from somewhere. Now, that somewhere is his TSP and other investments. And that's paycheck number 3, filling the gap until Social Security turns on. When some people run numbers like this, the 3 paychecks line up really well with their expenses and they feel a lot more at ease. Others realize the TSP is being asked to do way more heavy lifting than they thought, especially in those early years before Social Security starts. That's the math that actually tells you whether your plan works, not the gross pension estimate on a piece of paper. All right, let's say you do this exercise and the numbers don't quite add up, because that's a common thing that can happen. And it just means you have to make some decisions. You have 4 main options here. Option 1 is to work a little longer. And I know a lot of you don't want to hear that, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Your pension continues to grow and your TSP has more time to grow and collect contributions. Even 1 or 2 extra years can make a really big difference. Option 2 is to save more now or review how your TSP is invested. In my experience, federal employees within 5 years of retirement often have not revisited their TSP allocation in a very long time. The mix of the C fund, S fund, I fund, F fund, and G fund you picked back in your 40s might not be the right mix for you in your late 50s or early 60s. Now, I'm not going to tell you which funds to be in because that obviously depends, but it's worth some time to review. Option 3 is to adjust expectations. Maybe the target retirement paycheck is bigger than it needs to be. Maybe downsizing the house in a few years frees up meaningful cash flow. It all really comes down to making sure the life you want matches what your plan can actually support. Option 4 is tax planning. Most of your TSP is probably in traditional accounts, which means you have not paid taxes on it yet. The order you pull from your accounts, whether you do Roth conversions before Social Security and required distributions kick in, and how you handle income that could push up your Medicare premiums, all of that can make a meaningful difference in how much of your plan actually lands in your pocket. Now, the point is, if your first pass at the numbers doesn't look perfect, that's normal. You're not stuck. You just need to choose which levers to pull and by how much. All right, let's do a quick recap before we wrap up. First, that pension estimate you've been staring at is not the right starting point. Your current net paycheck from your LES is a much better place to start from. That's your real lifestyle number. Second, most FERS households really have 3 retirement paychecks working together: your pension, Social Security, and your TSP and other investments. Each one of those has its own job. Third, build a simple map: your net pension, net Social Security, then the gap your TSP needs to fill. You don't need exact numbers here. You just need honest, rough numbers. And fourth, if the numbers don't line up the first time, don't worry about it. You have the 4 options, right? Work a little longer, save or invest differently, adjust your expectations, or use tax planning to keep more of what you already have. This is a process. It's not a one-time calculation. Your plan in your 50s will look very different than your plan in your 60s, and that's okay. So if you want help turning your rough numbers into a real federal retirement plan, the best next step is to book a free federal retirement blueprint call. Click the link in the description, pick a time that works for you, and we'll get on a call, map out your pension, TSP, Social Security, and taxes together using your real LES and your goals. You'll walk away with a clear picture of where you stand today and the exact next steps to move forward. So thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate you watching. I'll catch you in the next one.